Hey y'all, welcome back to Cute Apron Cooking. My name is Rachel. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if this is your first time here, welcome. I would love it if you would go ahead and click subscribe and click the notification bell so you can be alerted of every time I post a new video. Today has been a really cold and dreary kind of day. It even snowed some. And so I'm looking forward to sitting down, drinking a hot cup of coffee, and enjoying a maple walnut biscotti. So let's go ahead and get started. Biscotti technically means twice baked, and so that's how you get such a crunchy final product, is baking it twice. You bake it as like a whole loaf, and then we'll slice it and bake it again to make the perfect little rectangles. So for today's recipe, we're going to need brown sugar, white sugar, maple syrup, eggs, melted butter, maple extract, all-purpose flour, baking powder, salt, walnuts, and a little cup of water that we'll use near the end. For the biscotti, you're going to be making like a loaf when you bake it, and it's going to need to be 10 inches by 4 inches. You can eyeball it if you want, or you can actually measure it out on your parchment paper so it's more precise. You'll just want to make sure that you put the ink on the opposite side that you're not putting the dough on. This recipe makes 2 loaves, so I went ahead and drew my parchment rectangle out on 2 different pieces of parchment, and my oven is preheated to 350 for this recipe. This recipe does have 3 types of sugar in it, but it's not going to be extremely sweet. It has a variety. So what we'll do is start by mixing together all 3 of the sugars and the egg. I mixed it for about 30 seconds, so not very long at all. Then you'll add the butter, the extract till it's incorporated, and after you mix those together, you're going to add in the flour and the baking powder and the salt and mix that just so it comes together. You don't want to over mix that, so it might mix up in like 30 seconds or something. When your dough is complete, it's going to be a stiff dough. It's not going to be runny at all. So you're going to have to form it with your hands once you put it on your parchment paper. And that's actually where the water, the little bowl of water, is going to come in handy, because you'll dip your fingers in a little bit of water and then form it. Otherwise, the dough is going to stick to your hands really bad because it's a sticky dough. You'll want to go ahead and let that bake for about 20 minutes. You're going to bring it out of the oven at that 20-minute mark, let it cool for 10 minutes, and then we'll move on to slicing the biscotti. While you're slicing the biscotti, make sure you leave your oven on because we will be baking them again. You want to slice this diagonally to make like rectangles, and you'll cut them about 1 inch thick. While we're waiting for the biscotti to bake for the second time, you can go ahead and melt your chocolate to drizzle it on top and to dip it. I have the regular chocolate in just a regular coffee cup. I microwaved it for a minute. You want to do like 30-second intervals though, and stir in between each interval. And for the white chocolate, I just have it in a pastry bag with like a really small hole cut at the bottom of it. So the biscotti are out of the oven for the second time, and what you'll do now is just wait till they're cool enough to touch, and you'll start dipping them in chocolate and decorating them. After these harden, you can take a knife and run it along and cut off the excess chocolate from the edges. So it's taste time now. Kay helps me record tonight, but she went ahead and went on home while we were waiting for the chocolate to harden up. So I'm tasting by myself tonight. My cup says sassy since birth. It's so perfect. The chocolate is going to add a little bit of extra sweetness to the biscotti, and if you don't want that sweetness, you can definitely leave the chocolate off. A little dip in my coffee. That's so yummy. That is so very delicious. The chocolate surprisingly does mix really well with the maple and the coffee. Like, all the flavors blend so good. And it's just really delicious. So you should go give it a try. You'll find a link to the recipe in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.